This is the Meerkat in with freeonlinetradingeducation.com, brought to you by Grok Trade, where I'm an analyst host to the GrokStar Trading Room, and perhaps your future mentor. Hey, here are two trades that went on simultaneously today. Let's take a look at the first one on VRX. And VRX here after opening was falling, and was in a symmetrical triangle. Hey, could also be called a bear pennant because it's a more bearish than it is bullish. So I set a trade down here that this broke down. I was going to want to go short. So let's see what happened next. Bam, bam, bam. There it is. And now I'm now short on VRX at $30.80. And starting to drop here. And bringing my stop to the apex of this symmetrical triangle. And less than 1% stop in it as it's falling. And it's continuing to, now it's just stalling down here. Now, at the same time, I was looking at some other trades, and this one was setting up. It was on SRPT. Now, SRPT opened, and it was in a falling wedge. Now, if you want to know more what a falling wedge is, go to our site, freeonlinetradingeducation.com, and go to Chart School. Just tag on that. And a falling wedge is a bullish formation. So just look here, falling wedge. See, under bullish. And it is where it is a pinching wedge on the way falling down here. And it is actually very bullish if it busts out above this top resistance line here. And again, here's some descriptions of it and pictures of it on different charts here. These are some daily charts. Here's a previous trade that I showed. That's actually a day trade there. The rest of these are on daily charts. But it can be very, very powerful. So let's take a look here and see what happened on this one. And unfortunately, I was just getting into that other trade and I didn't see it break out here. And I didn't see the breakout. So I missed the falling wedge and it busted out up to here. But then it was high basing right at this pivot line. This is the R1 pivot line. And it was high basing here. So I set a trade just above that. And look at the volume coming in. Look at the volume coming in. And then boom. And I am now long on SRPT at $15.28. Bringing my stop up here, right here to this pivot line. So I'm about 1% stop. And let's see what happens on this one. Boom, 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 boom. Look at that go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles up in a row, getting way overextended. So bringing my stop up here just underneath this 1590 area, about at the 8 EMA, because it's getting overextended. It might snap back on me, and it's just above the R2 pivot line there and the $16 amount. And guess what? It pulled right back to that area. And that started to roll back up again. So I'm still in it. My trade, it came within 1 or 2 pennies of my stop at the time, and now it's doing a bull pullback and waking its way up. Now we got to pull this down a little bit so we get to see the whole trade. But meantime, what was going on my other trade? And now let's go back to VRX. Remember, we are short here, and it was just basing here. So let's see what happened next there. Bam, 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 bam. And here's the $30 amount. $30 even dollar amount. Look at that. It's just basing just above that area, and it was there for a long time. So finally I lost some patience. It started to pierce this 8 EMA. I went ahead and I took out half here at $30.17 for 2.0% on the first half of VRX. And it's just sitting there above the $30 mark, bringing my stop here just above this 20 moving average here, getting ready for it to fall, and it's still just sitting there. Meantime, what's happening here on my other trade? Here we are on SRPT. We were long from here, just doing a bull pullback here, bringing my stop up here just under the 16 and that R2 pivot line, and it just basing here now, and then it starts to go up. When it starts to consolidate like this, what happens to the moving averages? They move very closely and tightly together. So again, I'm right down here just below this pivot line, and look at that. Came down, but didn't break that pivot line again. Possible line of support and resistance. So it started to roll up, getting way overextended, so I pull my stop up under by this 8 EMA right here, and bam, bam, stopped me out when it dipped down right here at 1644. For 7.5% in 32 minutes on the SRP trade. Ooh, doggies, I love it when that happens. And meanwhile, back on the other trade, what's going on here? It's just low basing, low basing, low basing, and I'm short on this one. And these are getting hammered simultaneously. And then it finally broke down below the 30 here. Bring a stop here to about 30.10 area, which is where I took out the other half. And let's see what happens. Is that 30 going to hold? That pierces the 30, and then kabam, an announcement came out. Nobody knew that was going to happen, and anything can happen here, right? Look at this. Watch what happens next here. Bam, bam, bam. Way down here to 29 even dollar amount. So it was at the 30, and then it drops $1. That's almost that's 3.5% drop here in just a couple of moments. So I bring in my stop down here, and about halfway through this really big candle is where I'm putting my stop. And look at that, it started to roll back up here, and I was at above the 8 EMA, and it was resisting here at 29.25, kept banging, 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 and then finally, boom, it popped up above it, stopped me out at 29.26 for 5.0% on the second half of this short trade. So let's take a look at this overall trade on VRX. It was an asymmetrical triangle, broke down, and when it stalled at an even dollar amount, I took out half, and then it broke down, and it finally stopped me out when it broke the 8 EMA for a total trade of 3.5% in 1 hour and 4 minutes. Hoo-ah! So it's pretty unusual to have a long trade and a short trade working out at the same time for such high percentages. This is the Meerkat. Hey, just remember what Tony Turner said. The day I began to trade with composure as my only emotion was the day I became a winning trader, period. Thanks, Tony. Trade well.